Today our topic is selective breeding, Unit 3.5. At the end of the lesson, we will be able to define selective breeding, describe the advantages of selective breeding, and to discuss its disadvantages. Selective breeding, also known as artificial breeding or artificial selection, is a process used by humans to develop new organisms with desirable characteristics. Breeders select two parents that have beneficial or phenotypic traits to reproduce, yielding offspring with those desired traits. Phenotypic traits means those traits are those characteristics which are physical or which can be seen with the naked eye. Selective breeding can be used to produce tastier fruits and vegetables, crops with greater resistance to pests, and larger animals that can be used for meat and milk. History. The term artificial selection was coined by Charles Darwin in his famous work on evolution on the origin of species. But the practice itself predates Darwin by thousands of years. As some of the earliest forms of biotechnology, both plant and animal breeding have been common practice since the birth of civilization. Humans have selectively bred plants and animals for thousands of years, including the crop plants with better yields, ornamental plants with particular flower shapes and colors. Ornamental plants are those which are found in the gardens. Farm animals that produce better quality meat are wool. Dogs with particular physiques and temperaments suited to do jobs like herd sheep or companionships. Aims. Selective breeding aims to adapt an organism's characteristics in a way that is desirable to the humans that breed them. In other words, we can say that we breed organisms for the benefit of human beings or mankind. How does selective breeding works? An organism's characteristics are partly determined by the combination of gene variants that are passed on from one generation to the next. Gene variant means the variety of genes or the changes in the genes present in a species or in a generation. For example, the children of tall parents may themselves be tall if they inherit a combination of tall gene variants. Main steps involved in selective breeding. Selective breeding takes place over many generations. These are the main steps involved. Decide which characteristics are important enough to select. Choose parents that show these characteristics. Choose the best offspring from the parents to produce the next generation, and repeat the process continuously. For example, different varieties of plants and animals with desired characteristics can be developed by selective breeding. For example, cows that produce lots of milk, chickens that produce large eggs, wheat plants that produce lots of grains, and sheep that have longest wools. In agriculture, selective breeding has also been practiced in agriculture for thousands of years. Almost every fruit and vegetable eaten today is a product of artificial selection. Cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and kale are all vegetables derived from the same plant, Brassica oleracea, also known as the wild cabbage. In the picture you can see that. Buffaloes. In the wild buffaloes, humans selected those breeds who are calm and small than the wild species. And now we have the water buffaloes, which are calm and small in size and can give us good quantity of milk. and meat also. Bulls and cows. In the picture you can see a German bull, a muscular bull with lots of meat, and an Australian cow which gives us lots of milk. These sheep are selectively bred for the production of wool, the large quantity of wool. As they have long size of wool, so they can give us large quantity of wool. Wheat. In the diagrams, in the pictures, you can see that the wild wheat is selectively bred continuously over generation to generation to give us the modern day wheat. The modern day wheat is hybridized and bred to be bigger to give a higher yield, large quantity of grains. Advantages. List of advantages of selective breeding. It requires no company patent, like there is no such higher knowledge required for this process. Everybody can do this. It allows for higher profit. It can create new varieties of good crops. It helps eliminate diseases. It can provide a sustainable food chain. It allows for the creation of high quality products, and it can produce fitter and stronger animals. Disadvantages. Without selective breeding, many of the plants and animals on earth today would not exist. However, there are some disadvantages of artificial selection, especially in the case of inbreeding. Inbreeding is a process which occurs in between the same species. Like the individual of the same species, when we breed them together, this process is called as inbreeding. Through inbreeding, two closely related organisms reproduce to yield a pure breed with desired traits. However, these organisms may also have undesirable traits due to recessive genes found in both parents. Recessive genes are those genes which can cause diseases, and if we breed those organisms by the process of inbreeding, so those recessive genes can be transferred to the offsprings, so they can carry those diseases. Selective breeding often results in a population of animals or plants with very similar genetics. Similar genetics means that the population will have the same strength but also the same weaknesses. Infectious diseases are more likely to spread through genetically similar populations because they are vulnerable to the same disease. Inbred populations are more likely to suffer from genetic conditions caused by recessive gene variants because they are more likely to inherit two copies of the recessive variants, one from each parent. Thank you. If you have any question, ask me in the Zoom session.